I just want to make sure my mic's on. Okay, I'm going to be the controversial guy. I see there's some Bitcoin folks here that in the corner that may not like a lot of my slides, and some of you may not like them either. But I'm a Bitcoin maximalist, and I speak about it from a technological perspective, being a little bit of a geek still, but I speak about it more so being a technology investor. I invest in technology startups, and my viewpoints are economically driven. They're not religious driven. So what I say on the stage today, if you geeks disagree with me, that's okay. That's fine. I know there's some religion in the space, and I'm going to probably veer into that a little bit. But I'm going to talk about why I believe Bitcoin is the only one. I think there is no other blockchain out there today that you can build your stuff on in the long term. I just don't believe it. Okay, and I'm going to try and make a case for that today. So if you believe in Ethereum and you believe in Solana and Cardano, etc., good luck. But from an investor perspective, we're not going to invest in it. Okay, why? Because simply put, there's no regulatory clarity. We don't understand where these things are going. They don't stand up to the Howey test from an economic perspective. They're not truly decentralized. They're interesting computer science projects, and they'll probably have some value of some kind, but we don't believe they'll broadly be what we envision from a tokenization perspective. We just don't believe that. And I'm speaking as an investor. I'm not speaking as a technologist. And yes, you can counter-argue me and say, well, my technology, X, Y, and Z, I can prove to you how my token works, and this is why Ethereum's better, and this is why Solana scales, and this is why Cardano is the greatest thing ever. That's not where I live. I don't care about that. It's not a technological story for me. For me as an investor, it's what makes economic sense so I can get a return. And right now, as investors in this space, when we look at this space, there's a lot of noise. You guys are making way too much noise. What we need is regulators in the room. Is there anyone from the South African Reserve Bank here? Can I get a hand? No. Is there someone from the South? Okay, yeah, I know you. I'm at your side, but I mean, there's no one here from the Prudential Authority. There's no one here from surveillance. There's no one here that is looking at tokenization very seriously in that entity today. And that's your biggest challenge, is that the regulators, we need to bring those regulators on board. Now, there's someone in the audience here today that I work very closely with, and I'm not going to mention him. He's probably one of the top minds in this space on a technological basis. And I've been pulling him in, and we are engaging with the regulators. So we are speaking to the Reserve Bank, and we're speaking to other regulators in other jurisdictions about this technology. And I think you folks are forgetting about them. At the end of the day, whatever you're going to be building, if you're going to put an investor case together for that, if you do not have regulatory clarity, your business case breaks. It just breaks. And you can argue for how great it is technologically, and now users love it and X amount, but it doesn't have longevity. So you need to think very carefully when you're looking at your tokenization strategy. You're looking at building some type of NFT, X, Y, and Z gaming application. You need to take a look at what the underlying substrate is of that blockchain, and does that blockchain stand up to regulatory scrutiny? And my belief today, I'm not here to tell you Bitcoin up, Bitcoin down. No. I'm here to tell you that I believe since its inception that this is the one, and it's still the one. And everyone else has copied it because they believe they can make their scale better, or they believe they've got some play on the security side, or they've got some play on the privacy side, etc. But at the end of the day, when you take a look at that little triangle, which I'll get to in a second, there's only one that stands up to it today. And it's not a technological argument. It's a market argument. It's the fact that the SEC recognizes it as the only true digital commodity that we've ever seen in the history of humanity. That's not me. That's what Gensler said. Now, what you think about Gensler, that's not the point. Trump's coming in and they think the same thing. That there's only one true digital commodity in the world today, and that is Bitcoin. Recognized by authorities. And why? And let's go through that for a second. So I'm going to take a look at this, and this is the problem with this industry. Okay, guys, I'm trying to click and it's not clicking. This is running on... Okay, there we go. I just want to show you this. This kid, look at this. It's not showing it now. This kid dumps $30,000 on a bunch of people when he issues out a token. Okay, we're not going to have time to go to the video, but I actually want to show you what he does. This is what scares regulators. This is what scares investors. The tech's amazing. A 12-year-old kid can do this stuff, and it's extraordinary. What? Listen. Watch him.
Oh, thanks.
Wait, what?
You said, wait,
Wait,
what?
I'm so confused.
What? Oh, it's nuked. Why is it nuked?
Nowhere.
Oh.
Holy fuck! Holy fuck!
You booklet.
Holy fuck, thanks for the 20 bandos.
Yeah, he did.
Yo, 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 what the fuck?
He makes $30,000 in 12 minutes by issuing out a token.
No.
He just dumps on everyone in real time when he does this. That's the problem. That's the 70-year-old granny, the 80-year-old guy that's going to buy your token and etc. I mean, this is what's happening out in the world today. It's fun. You live in a world that's a lot of fun. And I come from that world. I remember in my career, and maybe I think the next slide kind of goes into my career. Guys, can we get the next slide? This clicker is not working. It's going in the opposite
Are we
direction.
bonded yet?
Okay, it's going in the opposite direction. Okay, so in my career, I've seen a couple of these technology shifts, right? In the early 90s, we saw the internet. When I worked at Telkom, I came back from Israel. I worked at Telkom, and we saw the internet before it had a GUI. It had no browser. We were working on the ARPA and DARPA nodes of the internet at Telkom, and it was a very hush-hush project. And I was just one of the junior engineers involved in that. And we ran around telling everyone how big it was going to be and how fun it was going to be, and people laughed at us, etc. But from that, look at the internet today. When I moved to the United States in 1996, I saw the free and open source software movement in the late 90s, and I was astonished by it because it was people that had nose rings and ponytails, and they were doing stuff at universities with it, and we underestimated it, and it became the free and open source software movement as we see it today. I think my third iteration was Bitcoin. Right, when Bitcoin came along in my life, it was about 7 years ago or so. Someone explained Bitcoin to us, Simon Dingle. He explained it to me, and I was like, what are you talking about? Why? Because I was building this. I built a product called the Payment Pebble, and it was a product that converted a phone into a card acceptance machine. So we were one of the first. In fact, we were the first in the world to accept a chip and pin card dipped transaction through a smartphone into a banking fabric securely. Certified, EMV and PCI certified. So this was my world. I built this from the ground up. I had the engineers. We had a key loading facility. We had a manufacturing facility. We were exporting. We took it globally. And then someone showed me Bitcoin. And I was like, this is cock. What? There's no way. What do you mean you're going to move value from one person to another person without an intermediary more securely than has ever been done in the history of humanity? Like, I don't get it. It took me 24 months. And I went through the same circle that everyone goes through. Right? You see Bitcoin, you're like, wow, that's amazing. And then you mess around, you say, wait a minute, the blockchain's amazing. And then you kind of mess around, you wait a minute, blockchains are like, technologically speaking, blockchains are like really crap technology, right? It's really crap technology. Underlying, because you're replicating an entire ledger, an entire database, every time you change a single record, every single time. Every time I ask bankers about this, and I'm like, why don't you just use web services with like some SQL queries or something, and like, then you got the project done. Why are you doing it on a blockchain? Because it seems cool, right? So I went down that blockchain route also. And then I went to this altcoin route and I looked at altcoins. And I was in altcoins for I spent millions myself on altcoins. Lost millions, made millions, and then I finally transitioned back into Bitcoin. Why? Let's explain and let's unpack it. So that my career, I've served on boards. The last board that I was on was Discovery Bank. I was the head of the information technology subcommittee for Discovery. And really there, an emerging bank, I saw again why banks struggle with you guys, right? It's not because they don't want your technology. It's because when they take a step forward, and I know some of the banks are taking deep steps forward, but they never actually launch anything. You know why? Because the regulator comes to the door, tries to hold them accountable, and the regulator doesn't even have the tools today to do accounting or forensic investigation or deep analytics on what they're doing. Regulators just don't have tools. If you're a startup, you're going to build something, build regulatory tools. Because the regulators don't have them. So when they walk into banks and they want to do proof of reserve at a bank, how do they do it today? How does the Prudential Authority hold Discovery Bank accountable when it becomes a custodian of digital assets? How does it do proof of reserves? Right? Today, the only thing that SARS can do is warn us that if we don't declare X, Y, and Z, they're going to come after us. But that's all they can do. They can only warn us because they don't have tools. They don't have technological tools to actually go and do Merkle tree tests and things on proof of reserves. It doesn't exist. Okay, and then I'm working on this company. Watch this company, BitMac, in a little while. I'm not going to say anything about it, but just watch for this name in the next few months. I think it's going to be quite extraordinary based upon what we're doing there. I'm just some humor. Doctor said, are you sexually active? Stops mid-sentence, notices my Bitcoin shirt and says, do you smoke? I thought that was funny. Okay, wrong audience. The world requires reimagination. I think what you're doing is correct. I am here telling you both sides of the story. I love what you folks are doing, technologically speaking. I realized with GeoCities in the late 90s and early 2000s, GeoCities was amazing. People were building websites and some of it didn't work and we laughed and we scoffed at it. And that resulted in all the technological, amazing companies that we saw happening after that. Right? So we're in that GeoCities world again where we're making stuff and sometimes the website works, sometimes it doesn't work. But we are reimagining a new world. And this is, George Washington and King George when they were fighting each other. George Washington made a public declaration that after his presidential term, he would leave and he'd go work on a farm. And King George found out about it and he actually said it in history, it's been captured. He said if he truly does that, he'll be the greatest man that's ever lived. Because that monarchy couldn't see democracy. They couldn't see a new way. And I think that's what you guys are chartering. You guys are navigating and pioneering new pathways and new ways of looking at technological architectures, new ways of taking a look at value and breaking through this thing that keeps us from innovating, right? And there's all these regulators, all these banks, the pipes, the KYC things around us all the time that we got to navigate. And you guys are reimagining a new world, and I think that's amazing. We've also got AI. You can't ignore AI. I think AI is our sister technology. It's coming. It's coming. I invest in AI startups, and it's clear that proof of anything in over there is required, right? And so AI is coming along, and I believe fundamentally the two will merge at some point in time. It's very clear that that's going to happen. And then we take a look at market caps of some of the biggest companies in the world. I mean, this is extraordinary. I took this, and I've used this in presentations since 2018. This is when Apple became a $1 trillion company for the first time. It was 10 o'clock my time. On this date in 2018. Extraordinary, right? They moved on and they passed Saudi Aramco, right, in market cap. Extraordinary. If you take a look at the market cap of these companies, just the top 5, that's $10 trillion. It's astonishing. I mean, we've never seen this amount of wealth concentration, this amount of attention in organizations in the history of our economies, right? It's extraordinary. And what I like is there's this apex predator that's popped up, right? So Bitcoin's now in the top 10. We took over silver. We went past Meta, we went past Tesla, we went past Saudi Aramco just, I think, last week. We're now number 7. If we grow a little bit more in market cap, we'll bypass Amazon. And you can see who we're going for right in the top there, right? We're on our way towards gold. Gold is the asset class that Bitcoin wants to eat. And it's a $16 trillion market cap opportunity in the world today. And it's going forward. And it's trending towards that. And what I want to show you here is just all these organizations, take a look how big they are. If you take a look, this excludes NVIDIA. If you take Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Facebook, and you take a look at just their size, their market cap, those 5 companies outstrip every other company on the S&P 500. That's how big they are, right? And that's in revenue, that's in users, that's in attention, that's in market cap, in every single metric. And that excludes NVIDIA and it obviously excludes Bitcoin. But all of these companies are pressured now. Why? Because something is happening in the space at the moment. Bitcoin's moving away from this up and down thing, and it's becoming something that's quite interesting. So you notice there, NVIDIA and MicroStrategy, NVIDIA is bypassing, MicroStrategy has bypassed NVIDIA. Something's happening with MicroStrategy, and what they're doing is they're utilizing their bonds and utilizing Bitcoin as an asset class that they're trading against. That trade is confusing Wall Street completely, because Wall Street doesn't get Bitcoin. They don't understand an asset class that looks like this, that has this volatility that you can trade against and kind of manage against and have a stock price levered against it. And if you hold it and promise never to sell it, what occurs? This form of organization is not going to stop. This guy, I just saw yesterday or this morning that he's got a meeting set up with the Microsoft board. You're going to see this happening more and more. You're going to see organizations doing exactly what MicroStrategy is doing. They're going to buy Bitcoin and they're going to put it on their balance sheets. Why? Because, well, one metric and one metric alone. More than 80% of all the dollars printed in the world today, or available in the world today, were printed in the last 36 months. Currency debasement is a fact. It's a problem, right? So just that factor alone means we need something that has some form of value, some type of hard money. MicroStrategy is doing it. They're trading against it. That guy up there is still astonishing to me. He still comes out and talks about Bitcoin in a way that every time I look at it, I can't believe it. Because not too long ago, he was like Warren Buffett, the rat poison guy, right? So now he's out there. He's one of the biggest proponents. These are the chief marketing officers for a commodity that has no issuer, right? And you take a look at Senator Loomis. She's proposing 1 million Bitcoin is purchased over the next 5 years by the United States government. And she's also proposing that there 230-something thousand Bitcoins are moved from being confiscated under the domain of the FBI, being moved into the Federal Reserve as a strategic reserve asset. If that happens, the game changes everywhere, right? And that will be extraordinary. And then obviously you see the market cap prices, and people are anticipating this. Why? Because, okay, no, that's not the slide that's up there. Let's take a look at more of the trends. I just grabbed this morning and I put it in there. SEC chair is going to change. It's a Bitcoin maximalist is coming in as SEC chair. People that love crypto. Michael Saylor to meet with Microsoft to discuss investing in Bitcoin. That was 9 hours ago. I just literally put this into my slideshow just half an hour ago. Grayscale spot ETF options trading to launch tomorrow. So we're seeing ETF performances that we've never seen. I mean, these ETF performances are extraordinary, right? Billions a day pouring into it. They outstrip every single other ETF performance of the history of ETFs. We've never seen that before, right? And then this guy's coming along. And what this guy is going to do, no matter what you may think of him, I'm not here to politically advocate for him in any way or form. From a pure BTC perspective, a Bitcoin perspective, he is going to do something that's going to have a tectonic shift occur in the world. And he's going to move a crypto asset called Bitcoin into his Federal Reserve domain. And when he does that, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I don't care about the price. I care about the fact that every single nation state in the world will start considering Bitcoin as a strategic national asset. Okay, I'm in discussions today, confidentially speaking, with our country and our leadership about how do we acquire BTC and make BTC. So South Africa has a BTC strategic reserve asset. That is happening. Okay, so no, I'm not announcing anything. Don't clap. I'm not announcing anything. So don't go out like Stafford. No, I'm not announcing anything. But I can tell you what, those discussions are serious. They are happening. And it's not just South Africa. Namibia is talking about this too. Botswana is talking about this too. Zambia is talking about this too. Kenya is talking about it too. Sudan's talking about it too. Ethiopia is talking about it too. Right? So this El Salvador thing and then the Kingdom of Bhutan is now going to become something in the next 6 to 9 months that's going to change the game for everyone. The reason I'm telling you this is not to tell you go and buy BTC. No. I want every one of you to know if you're working on tokenization and you're in this world of building these assets on top of a blockchain, well, guess what? There's a blockchain that's emerging right now that's a true commodity that's going to become a national reserve asset in most countries, which means it is completely regulated. So you'll have an asset class that you can develop against. You'll have an asset class that the VC will have no problem when you're building against not ECR 20 or when you're building against BCR 20. We want to see more of that. And if you have an argument for ECR 20 being more capable and you can do more with the stuff over there, we don't care. BRC 20 may be simplistic. It may not be as powerful from a feature sets perspective today. It may be layer 1, but there's a lot of work happening on L2 integration with BRC 20. We want to see that as investors because we know the underlying substrate is regulated. Countries are backing it, and it's becoming the substrate for crypto in the world. And it's not going to stop. All right. This is the market that we're after. If you take a look at, I put up the slide. I've been putting up the slide for years now. First time at the Business News Conference. And when I did it for the first time, that was 0.05. I think we now represent 0.2% of all assets in the world. And we keep growing. And you can see who we're after over there, top left. Gold's the one that we're after. Obviously, art will come after that. Equities will come after that, etc. But if we just have a 5% impact in this space, it's extraordinary what will happen. And I'm not talking about BTC price. I'm talking about penetration on a regulatory framework perspective in the world. And that you as technologists, investors, folks innovating in this space, you need to realize, get off your religious horses and start looking at where the market is going. There's a Japanese saying, I think it's a Japanese saying that says, and I mentioned it to someone before, when rocks roll down a mountain, it's not because of the rocks, it's because of the mountain. You can tell me how beautiful, Bitcoin Cash and BSV is. You can tell me how beautiful Ethereum and Solana and Cardano is. Those round rocks are amazing. But the problem is no matter what you think of BTC, it may be as square and oblong as you think it is, but the mountain is tipping and it's going to roll. That's my argument today. Okay, now I'll kind of close on this. I've got more slides, but I think from a time constraint perspective, Why I believe is this. Now, you all know this, right? Everyone in the audience, decentralization, security, and scalability. Now, the big issue that everyone had with BTC was this, the bottom right one, right? And that's why everyone ran off and they created bigger block sizes so they could scale, and we know the history associated with that. But, L2 in this space is really maturing quite rapidly. And as an investor, I can see a lot of human capital scaling and really cascading into Lightning. A lot of work is going into Lightning, and a lot of venture capital is going into Lightning. Now, you can argue to the hilt that Lightning is not as good as XYZ. It had the liquidity in the channels, all the things I don't care about that. As an investor, I can tell you what, if you're building on that, that gives me peace of mind. Lightning Network on top of Bitcoin, as an angel investor, that means you're not going to bump into any real regulatory hurdles moving forward, because the moats are opening up for BTC all over, the biggest moats in the world. Right, so regulatory certainty, the only truly recognized commodity, digital commodity, an asset without an issue is BTC. It's a proven store of value and trust. It's the one that's been around the longest. It's not been hacked. It's not been compromised. It's proven. Proof of work. Proof of work is where I'm placing a lot of my efforts at the moment personally. A lot. I'm very, very deeply immersed in Bitcoin mining at the moment, right? Most of Bitcoin mining, as we know, more than the majority of it is happening with curtailed power, wasted power, or renewable energy. It's actually having an enormous EPA positive impact in the world. And it is an incredible thing for a country to strategically focus on. And that kind of gives away some of the things that we're up to, right? I mean, just know that energy in the world, here's a number for you. Between 35 and 43% of energy generated in the world is wasted every single day. They call it the duck curve, right? In the mornings, you're using a lot of power, and then during the day, you don't use power, and in the evenings, you use a lot of power. Between those two things, zero, and in the middle, they have this, what they call a duck curve. We've put so much solar in South Africa on our roofs, etc., that duck curve has really collapsed down. So the grid is really strained because we go from using a lot to using nothing and then using a lot. So that throttling, maintaining that megahertz on the grid is a big challenge. That's Bitcoin's opportunity. It loves that. It goes after that and eats up that curtailed power, that wasted power. And it stabilizes the grid. And guess what? It starts mining, and what does it create? Tokens that become part of a nation state's strategic reserve. You got it. See how it all comes together, right? That's what the Kingdom of Bhutan's announced, $1 billion of income from what they've done with their hydroelectric power. El Salvador has also announced what they're doing, etc. The United States, ERCOT, the grid over there. California, keep seeing it. Watch South Africa making noise in this space too. That is Bitcoin's opportunity. And that's what makes proof of work such a beautiful thing. It's not this decentralization. That D on the top for me is interesting, but as an investor, what's more interesting is the way it utilizes energy. It is the only blockchain that is truly tied from a physics, chemistry, energy perspective to Earth. And I like that. Okay, the rest of the stuff is like a computer science interesting project. This is not. This is like in a very slow, deliberate way tied to energy. And that deliberate tying to energy is its beauty. It is not the slowness of BTC and the way it makes U-turns like an aircraft carrier over 20 miles is an asset to us as investors. We love that. Why? Because it makes us go and chase wasted power in the world. It enables renewable energy projects to truly have an underwrite to their business case, so they can make their investments. And that's what's happening. So BTC is not just this Gensler, BRC, all this other stuff. There's also all these things that we need to acknowledge that's happening on the back end of it, that no other blockchain is undergoing right now. So everyone ran away because they thought it was so slow, and that slowness made it like kind of cuck. But no, it's not. It's kind of really cool. And it gives us better security. It gives us immutability. It gives us the ability to secure better than anything else. And then, of course, Lightning. Yes, immature. And this comes to BRC. And there's a couple of other things happening. Taproot Assets Protocol. We see Omnibolt and some of these things. So I'm trying to tie BRC20 into the L2 layer. We're watching that very interestingly as investors. But we like this. This is why we like BTC. So in closing, I'll say this and I'll say this again. I only believe there is one. Now, you may think Stafford's completely crazy. That's okay. But I can tell you what, from an investor perspective, when we're looking to invest in projects in the long term to get returns on our investment, we're not going to invest in something where you believe in a particular coin being different to Bitcoin, or you think a particular thing is more scalable than the blockchain underlying Bitcoin. It's not going to happen. We're not going to invest in that. It's great, have fun, but I would encourage all of you in this room to take a look at your human capital, your prowess, your ability and capability, and transition that onto the Bitcoin blockchain, because there is only one. Thank you.